All right, Isaac Harris, we're continuing our draft profiles with Ismael Kamagate. We know that the Mavericks have worked him out. They brought him in for a workout. They didn't start their workouts until like last week. It was really late. They started these draft workouts, or at least it seemed late to us. But Ismael Kamagate was one of those. He's 6'11", 230 pounds. He has a reported 7'3" wingspan. He's going to be 21 and a half years old at the time of the draft. He's been playing in France for Paris over the last couple of years. The one-sentence description from NBA.com is he's a lanky, late-blooming center with a massive reach, good leaping ability, and some budding scoring ability who merge as more of a factor this season than last season, despite Paris's promotion to the French First Division. Isaac Harris, what are your thoughts on Ismael Kamagate?
I like him a lot. I just got around to watching a lot of tape on him, film stuff, reading more about him. He was a soccer player too, growing up, born in France.
And you can tell.
Yeah. And he started playing basketball when he was 13. I was reading this story on him that his mother and his doctor advised him to switch to basketball.
Hey, there's this sport. Do you know about it? Instead ball, you throw it in this basket.
Yeah, and it's just, he's such a fascinating, prospect because, he's 21. He thought about coming into the draft last year. He did this a great one-on-one interview at basketballnews.com and recently, and just talked about why he didn't come out of the draft last year. He wanted to do some more work, but it's one of those things where there are a lot of good questions of that, like who he compares this game to and how he watches, Durant. He liked OKC up until Durant left, and he watches Embiid and Giannis. He watches these guys, but I thought it was also unique too, because he didn't say that his game resembles those guys. We see that all the time. We're like, oh yeah, I watch these guys and I think I'll be Durant. No, he went with Bam, and he said he thinks his game can resemble Bam, and I actually really, really like that. But Kamagate, as we say, is a French guy who his agent Bouna Ndiaye is, a guy has connections to, the Mavs. He's a Dallas guy, Dallas agent, Dallas-based agent. Rudy Gobert. A lot of the French guys are, Nick Batum. Victor Wembanyama is coming up soon. Is through Bouna. So Kamagate, that's the obvious connection to Dallas is through him. But another connection to Dallas, though, he worked out with Holger.
Oh,
he worked out with Holger. Kamagate did. So
shut it down.
I really like him as a prospect, and just the more I watched him, the more I liked him. And then I was like, all right, I was comparing him against some other bigs in this range that we've talked about. And I think I'm comfortable of saying that of all the bigs in that range, I would want him. I want him over Koloko. I want him over even my guy, Jalen Williams at Arkansas. I like him a lot. You guys know that. I like Kamagate a lot.
The thing about him is he's got the impressive frame, right? Just about 7 feet, 7'3" wingspan, but he's got good mobility. Like you said, he grew up playing soccer. He's got good mobility. He's quick on his feet around the rim. He just flies up. I mean, you watch any highlight of him, and it's just so many of these alley-oop dunks that he can just catch from anywhere. If you just imagine him playing with Luka, you're just like, oh, he's going to catch that. He's going to catch that. He's going to catch that. Like, there's going to be so many lobs for him. Flash some passing ability, and he's got a little potential as a mid-range shooter, right? Like, there's just a little bit there.
It's not ugly.
Like, it's not.
The form is there. I actually like the form a lot.
He did an interview with Rafael Barlow of when he on his NBA Draft Junkies YouTube channel, and he went over there. He was in France, and he talked to him, and he said, I want to show that I have a jump shot, and I have the 2-point shot. I'm working on my threes, but I have a 2-point shot, and it's like that guy's gonna be 21, like at the start of the season. It's not out of range that in like 3 or 4 years he's stepping out and hitting threes from distance, and so all of a sudden you're talking about a guy with this incredible frame that can defend the rim pretty well and can step out and possibly hit a shot. Now that's theoretical. That's not realized right now.
The shot's theoretical, yeah.
Yeah, the shot is theoretical, but all that other stuff, I mean, he's right there. The weaknesses, he's still kind of learning. He had this progression up in the French league that he jumped from one league to another, but he did pretty well when he had to jump up and when he had to go up to that next stage. But he's still learning. Obviously, he's not gonna post up for you. He's not gonna go get you a bucket. He's got a couple of hook shots and things around the in the post, but he's not going to go get you a bucket down there. He's not like, I wouldn't say he's the incredible, like insane rim protector at this point. He's good.
Yeah, he's got length though.
Got length, and the feet and all that is incredible, but I wouldn't put him up there with like he's going to be elite from day one, right? Which is just kind of hard.
He's not Rudy Gobert, but like he can defend the paint.
Right.
For sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to shots around the basket, like that's the thing. Like NBA.com, their profile of him, it says 1.42 points per shot around the rim in the half court. That's in the 90th percentile. He ranked among the international leaders in dunks, displaying a huge catch radius. Like this is you're defining the type of center that would excel next to Luka Doncic.
And one that you added the bullpen, right? This is what we've been talking about. Is they need to add another guy. They need to add a guy that can pick and roll and can finish around the rim like Dwight kind of does, but also can defend the rim and can step out in space a little bit. Now, he's not going to defend guards at like an elite level, but he can step out in space, and his feet are good enough that he's going to move, and he's not going to be played off the floor super fast, right? We're not talking about like Walker Kessler. We're not talking about like a big like that.
The Mavs are going to take Kessler.
I know, and we're going to have to bring Richard back up Mavs draft on, and we're just going to have to eat all the words we said.
But to talk about him like switching on the perimeter, I literally went to Synergy and just watched all of this isolation possessions, and I was like, all right, I just want to see how you do on the switches. His defensive stance is what is really impressive. This dude gets, we're getting really kind of technical here, but like he gets so low in his defensive stance for a 7 footer that it's like that's what's really impressive. That a lot of times you see a guy 7 footers, paint protectors, they're not like fully lean, but he is so engaged. His knees are bent so much that he is kind of lighter on his feet. I mean, obviously some smaller guys are going to get to the rim past him, but he can switch, and it's not like lockdown, but he's not getting ran past either. I was impressed by it.
Availability. Raphael had him on his big board at 21. That's the highest that I've seen from anybody. The Ringer had him out of the top 38. Like the Ringer's big board only goes to 38 this year, and he didn't have him in the big board at all. ESPN mocked him at 40, and The Athletic mocked him at 45. So he's probably going to be there for the Mavs. And that this is a definite player that you could say, hey, this guy will probably be available for the Mavs there. If you talk about his NBA comp, you mentioned in that interview with Raphael that he did, Clint Capella is a guy that he models his game after. Raphael even, I think, mentioned that either in this episode or tomorrow's episode about how he models his game after Clint Capella, thinks he can have that same kind of trajectory where it might take a year in the G League or something like that, like Rudy Gobert did, like Clint Capella did, for him to just catch up. And then all of a sudden, like Clint Capella was in the G League one year and then it was starting for the Rockets the next year, right? It may just take that where he just catches up and then all of a sudden he's ready to go.
Yeah, I put Capella. I put Ibaka again. And then I put Mavs fans. I know we're going to have a distaste for this one, but a younger DeAndre Jordan in the sense of his catch radius is going to be big. Yeah. He's not the, hey, baptizing Brandon Knight type of thing, but man, I was debating on clipping some things and doing like a Kamagate thread today on Twitter. I was so excited about it because there are some dunks that he had that were like, whoa, like not even like transition dunks. Like, hey, he catches it like on the floor in the paint and just turns around, just dunks over people. And I'm like, all right, I would love to see this in Dallas.
And it's like he catches it around the 3-point line and can do like a couple dribbles and get to the rim too, right? Like it's not only just catch around the rim and dunk, right? There's a couple of things he can do in there, which like extends his limits, right?
For sure. So you asked like why does Dallas not take Kamagate in this range? Because he is a little still raw. I mean, I don't have much answers outside of that unless you just, hey, you don't take Kamagate because you want a wing. If you're wanting a big in this range, then like he's the swing for it. And unless you want somebody like a Jalen Williams that has, that is so well-rounded right now that you're like, all right, I could throw him into a series. He could probably play right now. Or you believe in like this potential of the outside shot of Koloko, maybe a little bit more, then Kamagate is my favorite big man prospect in this range.
Yeah. The reason why you don't take him is you just like somebody else in that range better. Right. Maybe somebody drops. Maybe there's somebody that we don't expect to be there. But the Mavs, why the Mavs shouldn't take him. If I'm just gonna go straight up on who he is, he's almost 22 when the season starts, and he's still a prospect. So like he's older, and he's not like he's still a project. He's not like Jalen Brunson coming in where we said, okay, he's gonna be ready from day one. He's older, but he's gonna be a little bit more ready to come in and contribute right away. I'm not sure about Kamagate with that.
Coloco's 22, by the way. Just throw that out.
But that was going to be my other point, is that Coloco is kind of the same thing. He's 7 foot with a 7'5" wingspan, and you're like, okay, well, he seems to be a little bit of a project, but he's 22, so it's not like there's another option there. And we've already talked about Walker Kessler. We've already talked about some of these other bigs that'll be available. It's not like there's another option that'll be there at 26 for the Mavs. So there's a bunch of reasons, I guess, why to not take him. But why you take him is he would be the perfect, if it all pans out, let's say the jumper pans out, his mobility pans out, everything pans out for him. He is the big rim protecting, rim running center that can finish around the basket, that can maybe step out and hit a shot, definitely step out and hit a 2-point shot, but maybe eventually extend his range to 3-point range that the Mavs have been looking for.
Yeah, and going back to what you said earlier, he would be a part of the rotation, the bullpen rotation. Like, you're not drafting him, we're hyping him up, but like, you're not drafting him saying, hey, you're gonna be our starting center playing 30 minutes a night, night one. You're drafting him to add to the rotation, possibly get some G League time, and say, hey, let's do this. Like, we want to commit to a path for you to get better, develop everything with that. It's just his skills and like what he's good at could fit perfect in Dallas. We're gonna, at some point, I'll tweet out, we'll talk a little bit more closer to draft, like maybe a top 3 for us or a top 5 for us individually, of like, hey, these are some of the guys that we want. He's gonna be on my list as far as like in top. If we had to pick 5 guys in this range that I'm like, hey, I would be happy if Dallas takes one of these guys. Kamagate would be one of the guys.
Absolutely. There you go. Guys, hope you enjoyed that episode. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every single day. Be sure to check out the Locked On NBA Big Board. Rafael Barlow, who you just heard earlier with Richard Stamen, Mavs Draft on Twitter, NBA drafts, mock drafts, player rankings, big boards, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.